Welcome back to the Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast. This is the live post-game show brought to you by Will McCormick, the best therapist in the Pinellas County area. And as is tradition, we got the Cobra Kai shirt. Swept the leg.
The leg, baby. They took care of business. Good job, fellas. They didn't make it easy, though. Oh, my goodness. Making us sweat it out halftime, actually losing by a couple points. But, they kept attacking Banchero, got him that fifth foul, and I knew it was over at that point once he was going to be out of the game for just basically most of the rest of it. So,
yeah,
great job by the guys.
It took us, 18 quarters, but Jaylen Brown made an adjustment and said, fine, if you're going to be on top of me the entire time I'm driving, I'm just going to go up when you don't expect it, and you're going to be on me. And Tony Brothers, give kudos to Tony Brothers. We always give him a hard time. Called the fouls. I absolutely loved it. Okay. And what a way to end it, but with a Patrick Ryan. Patrick's
always swooping in from left field with a bomb.
He saves us. He's like, listen, you guys got to go to bed. I'll just summarize it all for you perfectly. So here's Patrick, as usual, dropping the bomb. If you remember, before the playoffs stated, I had voiced my concern about the Celtics trying to force threes when they weren't there and keep shooting the three if they had a big lead instead of taking. Yes, we do remember that defense gave them. Today, I was impressed to see how composed they were, disciplined and mature Celtics team, especially in the first half when they were 0 for 6 from the three-point line. They continue to go inside and take what the Magic gave them, didn't force the issue, and allowed them to get the Magic in foul trouble and take advantage when things opened up. And that was great, impressive to see. Great closeout game. Bring on round 2. Let's go, Patrick.
Show's over. Patrick just did it all for us. He's the man.
Yeah,
all right.
There you go. What's up, Jeff? Yay. Yay is an understatement. Oh, what a game. And then Tim, let's go. Hit the nail on the head, right? And JB, I don't know if you guys were here for the very start of this, but kudos to JB. It was his attacking that got Banchero in foul trouble, and the game completely shifted. Also, this Celtics team, what did I tell you, Dad? I said, I think that come the playoffs, they're going to drive a lot more now that the game's on the line. And that's exactly what ended up happening with this team. If anything, we're almost taking too little threes in some scenarios. But, wow, that was such a great game. They really adopted it. What's up, Dad?
It almost goes back to Patrick Ryan's point. They're 0 for 6 for 3 in the first half. Instead of, panicking, forcing up more threes, it's kind of like the team as a collection said, okay, it's not our night from the three-point line. We're going to win another way. That's it. So, like you said, it's a sign of maturity, right? I've always asked that from individual Celtics players in the playoffs. Know when it's not your night taking threes and to help the team win in other ways. Marcus Smart drove us insane with that.
Oh, yeah. Marcus Smart should be shooting threes.
I used to literally root for Marcus Smart to miss his first 4 3-pointers because that was the only way he'd slow down just a little bit. He just wasn't good at knowing when it wasn't his night. The whole team as a collection did. The fact that they only took 6 3-pointers was amazing. And then, they let the game come to them. They were driving. They were getting mid-range jumpers. They were drawing fouls, getting free throws. And all of a sudden, they started testing some wide open threes, and they started falling, and the whole team caught fire. That was amazing.
Yeah, they dropped a stat on the coverage at the end: the largest win margin in playoff history after trailing at the half. It's complete different.
Oh, wow,
tale of two halves. What you guys weren't here for the pregame, but we said get a 20-point lead on this team. And the game's over. Scal said it. If you were listening to NBC Sports Boston, if you were lucky enough to listen to the last NBC Sports Boston game of the year, a 20-point lead on these guys is a 50-point lead on these guys. They don't have the offensive firepower. That second half was incredible. What a treat. And hopefully that is a freaking launching board, to send us into the next round. Banchero getting 5 fouls and having to sit felt like justice from the universe after all the garbage calls this series. 100%. There was so many times, even early in this game, where I'm like, what the heck is going on? The Horford Phantom, he kind of grabbed Isaac a tiny bit, and they called the foul. Tatum was going to have a fast break. They ended up keeping the ball with the Magic, and then Banchero ended up getting a three right there. I was like, that's a huge swing that just happened. And then down the court, Jason Tatum gets grabbed, as he's going, and no call there. They started to even it out. Things started to get better, and the turnovers plummeted for the Celtics. I think we had like 8 or 9 turnovers in the first quarter and a half. We finished the game with 11 turnovers.
Yeah, because they weren't allowed to clutch on us. And it was, it just loosens everything up. And then look, you get actual pretty basketball, like in that second half. Much better, to look at, much more fun to watch. Absolutely. What a stat, though. All-time record to win a game by that much after losing at the half. That is something else, man. The Celtics team is they're so explosive. They're so amazing. They own so many a time little NBA records. Yeah, you'll never hear about them again, but that's something too. You might not see that one broken for a long time, if not ever.
Yeah, you're right, Jeff. Cornette was having like a generationally bad first half. He could not do anything. Like it was driving me absolutely insane. That dump off pass to Tatum that got stolen was just embarrassing. It's like, dude, you're so like bad. 7'3" and you're in the restricted area. Go up. Come on. Barkley was ragging on Brown last night about only scoring 6 points. Felger and Maz decided to pile on today as well. I couldn't give a flying rat's, but Brown is doing what he needs for him. Right. And you know what? Jaylen Brown turned it on in the second half. Right. He's a closer. That guy is cold-blooded. He had 2 turnovers, but he also drew the 2 most important fouls in this game. That changed the game completely. That 5th foul was everything. And then the Magic were lost. You know what the Magic look like? They looked like my son when he goes down in NBA 2K25 because they just start chucking threes. That's what he does. Once he starts going down, he goes and he just never stops chucking threes. You had Franz Wagner, who was getting absolutely everything he wanted in the paint. Banchero went out and he's like, "Oh no, I have to shoot threes. I just have to." It's like, no, dude.
Do what you were doing. Every time he launched a three, I'm like, thank you very much. Absolutely. And, Hauser, Pritchard, and even Cornette, finally some bench contributions. Hopefully this flips a switch for Cornette and he goes back to what he was in the regular season. Now that, maybe the moment's not too big for him. He's got the playoff jitters out of the way, getting his first minutes in an actual rotation. He's been on the team for years, but he's never been in the playoff rotation. So this is his first time. Great to see Pritchard finally hit a couple, Hauser too. That's another reason why it wasn't just like Orlando's defense. Another reason why these games are so damn close is our bench gave us nothing. Absolutely nothing. And, they contributed in the second half today, and look what happened. It was like a free-for-all.
Yep. Tim, you're right about Jaylen Brown. Team player first and foremost. He gives us what we need, when we need it. I'm sure your class will love these highlights. These highlights will be a lot better than the tackle football games that we saw, at least from the second half on. And great rebounding. Great rebounding in the second half. The first half, we could not stop. Tim, I think you said you missed like a lot. Like you missed like the first quarter or something like that, taking care of the kids. But oh my goodness, could we not stop them from getting offensive rebounds? Schreierman dropped a three. Did you see the three? And then the Tatum celebration?
He gave Tatum that celebration. He's the one who created it for him. And Tatum's like, all right, thank you. I'll use it. So
listen, that was a
cool moment.
That made me really happy. And, as the kids say, the vibes on this team are immaculate. What an awesome moment. Really full steam ahead going into the next round. We have Holiday. Of course, he's dealing with something right now, but we just bought him so much time. The Pistons won their game. They bought us some more time. We're staying at home.
Yes.
Yeah. No plane rides, nothing. It was amazing to see our 2 second string bench guys draining threes after the starters were sitting. That's priceless, Jeff, right? We
had a lot go our way, guys, tonight. Yep. I'm sorry, Matt. Did you guys see what happened in that Indiana-Milwaukee game?
Yeah, I did.
Indiana was down by like 8 points, with like 40 seconds left, and they came back and won. And then New York loses, extending that series. So we wanted Indiana to win. now they're going to be nice and rested for Cleveland. They both almost have equal days off. So now, Indiana's should be raring to go, fully loaded. That's good. That went the Celtics' way. Detroit, battled in New York, got a win there. That's going to extend that series. So they're going to be going back to Detroit now. Man, New York's gonna be pooping their pants if they lose that game, going back to Madison Square Garden for Game 7. So get those guys nice and tired, get them banged up. Man, a lot went right tonight for the Celtics. It's great. Now, hopefully, we get we don't get a game till next Tuesday. It's either next Monday or Tuesday. Hopefully, we get Tuesday, full week off. That's going to do wonders for Holiday and Brown's knee and Tatum's wrist.
Yeah, and so glad we're out of this series. Tim said I was worried it was going to be a slog. Tim, it felt like a 7-game series to me. All these games were so draining. It didn't like none of these games. The second half of this game is the first time it really felt like I was watching like the Celtics from this year. And the first, 4.5 games have been completely different basketball than I'm used to. Different basketball than my son's used to. He's like, what is going on? It's not saying I want them to chuck threes, but there was almost no beauty in the game. Like my dad said, it just became like a boxing match. It became a grabbing. If you wanted to see a science experiment, it'd be better to not watch the ball, but watch everybody else and just see all the grabbing that's going on. And I'm so glad it's over. I agree with Tim. Sigh of relief now that this is done. The title of the episode is na 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 hey hey goodbye. Goodbye to these losers. I love the chant in the garden at the end. I just appreciate it so much.
It was crucial to get out of this. I mean, listen, give Orlando some credit. They're only probably doing what their coach tells them to do. They're probably, that's the only way they were going to hang with the Celtics was to just turn it into a tractor pull. They fought really hard. They were missing Suggs. So, but that team's going to be, hey, it's not their time yet, but it's so nice to put that behind us. No more risk of any injuries, knock on wood, and start healing up those bumps and bruises for the next round. Hopefully, we get a nice quick series, 4 or 5 games the next round as well, because hey, let's be honest, Cleveland they look good, and and basically, like Matt said in the pregame, they basically had a bye. It's almost like that's as close to a football bye as Cleveland could have gotten. I mean, they got like no
It's the
pushback
largest margin ever in like a
from
series.
Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, like no pushback from Miami whatsoever. So it was almost like they've been sitting on the couch just, eating ice cream and watching TV.
I'll tell you, Tim, Banchero is such a good freaking basketball player. He's going to go so far. That team, I think they have some, odd contracts that they're going to have to kind of manage. They have the Wagner kid. I think Wagner has to develop like a mid-range or like a 3-point shot. They signed KCP to big money, but in any case, shout out to Banchero. He's a good player. He's probably one of the few players on that team I actually like. I love that Celtics can change the game to do what they do to take the win. Tim, I completely agree. And that's why everyone was like flipping out about their 3-point numbers in the regular season, but it was okay. I knew it was going to be okay because this team knows how to win. This is a mature team. Patrick Ryan said it right at the top. They morph their, play to what's provided. They don't force a game. They let the game come to them. I'm relieved that the boys gave us a huge scoring margin so we could enjoy the win rather than having heart failure for a close finish. Oh, I know. Jeff, I needed that second half. We deserved it, right? I mean, 5-game series, that was a rough 5-game series. The one thing Feller Mavs got right today, the first round of the playoffs has been great. 6 series has been competitive. I ended up watching the Warriors Rockets last night. Wow, seriously, what great competition over there. The NBA is probably super happy. The Milwaukee Pacers game, great ending, like my dad said. Detroit, New York, great ending. And now you have this Clippers versus Denver series. So I'm curious, Jeff and Tim, who do you guys want to see next round? Do you guys want to see the Detroit Pistons? Do you want to see the New York Knicks? So I'm curious your answer there. And while we're waiting for that, the stream to catch up, Dad, I'm curious, which team do you think is going to win that Nuggets Clippers real quick while we wait for their response? Nugget Clippers, who do you got?
I still don't think the Nuggets are going to win it. I get, man, Kawhi Leonard, you forget how good he is until you see him in action. But I don't know. They still have the home court. I think they were winning. I don't know what they're up
They're up
by
by
still,
8
but I
right
think
now, halftime.
halftime. Okay, and I think they're going to move on. Uh, I tell you, Golden State. Everyone's like, "Oh, fear Golden State." I just don't. Like I know everyone. It's like right. It's we have a thing with go. The Celtics have trouble playing Golden State, and then we've always had trouble with Jimmy Butler. I get the fear, but I'm telling you, there is nothing else on that team. They're very similar to Orlando. They have two guys you got to watch out for, and everyone else, like, they got some guys that blah 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 blah, whatever the heck his name is, guy. He's certainly capable of having a big night once in a while, but then he'll disappear 2 nights. It's like I don't fear them.
Yeah.
So
So
really, it's the Thunder, Denver, Minnesota. Nah,
yeah,
I think they're getting an overrated Lakers team. So we'll see what they do,
yeah.
in the next round. But
So
yeah, I'm glad we're in the East. That's for sure.
so Tim said he wants the Knicks. They are soft. That is a complete hard agree there. So my
Yeah,
heart says Detroit after the screw job from last game. I'm pulling for them. However, I think we match up better against New York. Detroit is tough
yeah,
because Detroit actually uh, commits more fouls than the Magic. That is a
yeah.
shocker, but it's like, less than one per game more. The problem is that Detroit has Bankero. They because Cade Cunningham is probably equal to or maybe even a little bit better than Bankero, but they don't have a Wagner, right? They have, Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway, Jalen Duran, Sir Thompson. I mean, I think
Easily.
yeah, and they have the
Yeah.
Beasley guy. Beasley's actually been struggling this playoffs. The light's been
Yeah.
really big for him. He's shooting uh 30% from three after shooting 42%
That's
from
not
three.
good.
Yeah. So I
Well,
don't know.
here's the way I look at it. I feel like we're finishing both those teams off in 5 games. Who do you think is going to take more tread off our tires? Who do you think? What team you think we're going to come out more banged up, even winning in 5 games?
Uh if I'm being honest, I
It's
I think
easy.
it's the Knicks, you
We're going
think?
to get banged up with Detroit.
Yeah.
The Knicks are not anything like Detroit or Orlando. They just we beat either one of those teams within 5 games. I'm very confident of that. I just feel like we come out with less bumps and bruises, less injuries, against the Knicks. Yeah, they're more skilled, but man, we really have their number. Really have the Knicks number. 4-0 against them, 3 absolute annihilation blowouts this season. They just don't match up well with us.
Yeah. I think like right now the Knicks are committing 20 fouls per game. It's a gritty series over there. Um, we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
Brunson is very uncomfortable to watch. I don't know if anybody has watched any of those games, but he's not fun to watch. He's a foul baiter. He's a free throw merchant. I can't stand him. Detroit will be rougher in my opinion. I agree with the old Bolt and Tim. Yeah, I think I think Detroit, like the problem with the Knicks is they do have talent, right? Detroit does not have talent at all.
No,
there's
not
almost no
offensive. No,
there's like
no.
one guy on Detroit who would get rotational minutes on the Celtics, and that's Cade Cunningham. I don't think any of those. Maybe Jalen Duran might play over Cornette, but otherwise, like they really. Whereas I think the Knicks they have the talent. Like Mikal Bridges, Anobi always plays us tough, and then you never know what you can get from what's Jalen Brunson. But like you said, they're less of a dirty team,
Yeah,
compared to Detroit. So we'll see. Now we can talk about this. We can talk about the next round. We can move on
yeah.
from this disgusting series of the Magic.
You know who's also happy to see Orlando out? Porzingis. Because
Yeah.
we need more out of him. He was not. He had his moments. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't a complete nothing, but man, did he struggle this series. I don't think I've ever seen a 4 game stretch where Porzingis has struggled like this, either in the playoffs or the regular season for us. He's usually, he almost never even has like a terrible game. Like he either has like an average game where he's just not much of a factor, or he's just like a game changer. And
Yeah.
man, this was like hard to watch him out there. He just struggled. Hopefully this week off he fixes everything you know and gets back to being the unicorn that we all know and love.
Yeah. I mean, the last time we played New York was April 8th, and he went for 34 points against them. Towns also went for 34 points against us, and Porzingis went a zero, right? So it's kind of a weird game. The other time that he played New York, he went for 15 points, and he was plus 17. So, I mean, he didn't shoot too well. Porzingis couldn't handle having a body constantly leaning on him. Yeah, Tim, he
That's
was
what it
he was
is.
struggling a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, and looking at it, he did have a game against Detroit this year. Porzingis did. Uh, it looks like he had a couple games. He 19 points in December, 26
Good.
points in December, and
All right.
then
So he handles Detroit well.
and then recently when the one we got smoked by Detroit and lost by 20, he had 11 points and went minus 24. He had the worst on the team. So they would
Yeah.
sniff and he would lose position. Oh man, he had like Corey Joseph in the paint today. They were talking about it
Yeah.
on the broadcast and he totally missed. It's like,
He's got
come
like a
on, man.
full foot on him. It's like, oh, dude.
Yeah, I don't.
I just didn't have it. Hopefully, it's just a one series thing because we're going to need him to be on his game. That's for sure. Especially when we go up against Cleveland. Because
Yeah,
they're good. They're raring to go, and they're deep like we are. So we're going to need, and they're big. So
and
hopefully
and you
the
really need
uniform turns it
efficiency
around.
from your big man, especially in the paint. Like
Yeah.
he is taking up a decent amount of shots. Like today, he didn't play much. He played only 21 minutes, so very little
Yeah,
time. But in the other
that's good.
games, yeah, in the other games, he is taking like 14 shots, 14 shots, 10 shots, and it's like that's those are decent usage rates. We got to have him hitting those.
Yeah.
We'll see. Tatum's shot is coming around, and that's very dangerous for the NBA. Hopefully, it stays that way,
Yes.
no matter how long the layoff is between this and that. Incredibly efficient game. The free throws, he missed those 2 free throws after that wrist injury, and then he's been on fire since. I love Porzingis, but I get nervous anytime another player goes near him. He just appears very fragile. I know he's not, but that's just the optics. I feel a lot better about him
Yeah,
now.
it is. It's
I,
true,
I
Jeff.
yeah, like I feel like that's kind of I've been a bit desensitized to that now. I feel like he's a bit more sturdy, knock on wood, but maybe I'm a little bit crazy there. My worry is the other teams see how to play him now. Yeah, I mean, the thing is
I
that
mean,
he gets his shot. It's hard to not let him get his shot. He just needs to make it.
yeah. Right. And I think I tell you the one thing I said about Porzingis a while back, I think the team caught onto it too and said something because yeah, I'm sure I don't know if you remember Matt, but I said the it feels like the only time he gets injured is when he tries to drive to the hoop with the ball. And it's like you don't see that now. It's basically he's either posting up, he's got a wide open three, or he's rolling to the basket. You know what I mean? Where
Correct.
he gets the ball, but he's already in motion. Like it feels like the only time he's hurting himself when he actually would try to drive around people, like and he would pop something in his damn leg. So and it feels like he hasn't been doing that. So hopefully the team saw what I saw, and that's not a coincidence, and they're keeping him away from that. But yeah, Tatum hasn't, knock on wood, he hasn't missed like in almost 30 attempts or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 35 free throw attempts. It's the first player
Brown was
in
shooting
NBA
like
history.
90%, and then he had a couple misses today. So hopefully he doesn't revert back because he was
Yeah.
shooting like almost 90% for the series.
Tatum went 12 for
He's
12,
pretty good.
14 for 14, and 11 for 11. So that's 37 for 37 from the line.
Wow.
Yeah, and
That
he
is
he
something.
he missed both free throws in the first game. So that
I
is a
know.
complete about face. I mean, Brown did, from the line he missed 2 today, but overall, we did it.
Yep. And look at Tatum's threes, like I always talk about. What was the 3 pointers he made today? They're just straight on 3 pointers. He stayed away from the sidestep. Jeff, stop doing that, Tatum. Just take straight up, straight ahead 3 pointers, and he's fine. He's pretty good at them.
Yeah. Jeff, I think that the score does stay closer, but it did feel like we were starting to pull away.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
so it's kind of tough.
Well, yeah, it was close. When Becerra went up with that fifth foul, I remember we were hanging around like having a 3 point lead for like almost 5 minutes. I'm like, what are we doing here? Come on, we got to build on this. And then the floodgates just open. So, I mean, if he plays, it's definitely a closer game. We
Oh
still
yeah,
win, we still pull it through. But
yeah.
yeah, no, that was definitely Jaylen Brown, like Matt said. Holy cow, that was so money.
It's not on the
Jaylen
stat
Brown
sheet.
driving on him twice, picking up two quick fouls on him. That was huge.
The best
He
part
knew him.
was it was textbook fouls. So like it was like you like as a fan, you can't deny it. You just get mad at your player for
Yeah.
making that play. So
Yeah, they reviewed the last one. I'm like, okay, good luck with that. Like,
oh
that's
man,
just a frustrating thing. And Ben Carroll probably begged him to review it. So the coach probably didn't want to. He just did. So
yeah,
I mean, hey, great night by our boys, that's for sure.
yep. I'm thankful for Jeff, Tim, Patrick, if you're still here, coming in, looking, watching. But you got to go to bed. 11:38. Great
Yeah,
win. Now we get to watch some playoff basketball and chill out for a week. Let's enjoy these other games.
beautiful. And we are having a post Patriots draft show. Might be this week. I'll post something, letting everyone know as well.
All right. Hope everybody has a good rest of their week. Go Celtics. Game over.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, people. 12 more victories. 12 more, baby.